Hello. Welcome back to the Loud Albanian, episode 2. Wow, I was so overwhelmed in the best way possible by the amazing comments, the feedback that I got. Um some of you guys were so sweet and messaged me. A lot of you guys actually messaged me and said the most amazing things, the sweetest things. Today, what are we going to talk about? Okay, we're going to talk about ADHD or ADD as the most recent scientific term. ADD, for those that don't know the term, is attention deficit / hyperactivity disorder. It is something that you're either born with or something that you develop in your childhood, and that it kind of bleeds into adulthood. A lot of children in America get diagnosed very young. And I believe 1 in 3 people gets diagnosed in the US with ADHD. Um, I was diagnosed with ADD when I moved to the US about 4 years ago. It was something that surprisingly gave me actually a lot of clarity in a way, because it helped me stop questioning everything that I did. There was a lot there were a lot of times when I truly didn't know what was wrong. And a lot of people, when they talk about ADHD, it's kind of like either a myth, or a lot of people that have ADHD are just called lazy because, I don't know, I guess we do have a lot of things in common with people that are just lazy. Or maybe everyone that is lazy has ADHD. I don't know. I mean, we will never know. Anything on the spectrum of mental health is just such a difficult topic to talk about, and it comes from many things that I'm not going to get into today. Um, but yeah, ADD is one of those, and I don't blame Albanians, to be honest, because even in a country like America, who is like light years ahead in their research and in their awareness, there are stories of people that I know that were either never diagnosed, or all their concerns were kind of like swept under the rug because it just wasn't like good enough. I'm going to share like what my biggest struggles with ADD are, ADHD, because it might help someone else. And then maybe some strategies, like things that you do to help yourself out. I do want to say that I'm only 25 years old, and I know that symptoms are going to change throughout the years, and for some people it gets better, for some people it gets worse with age. And I don't know what it's going to be like for me, but I will share that it is different for everyone, and you kind of have to figure out what works best for you, because you're the one that has to live with yourself. And whether people think you're lazy or not, to be honest, that doesn't really mean anything, because the people that care about you, they won't care whether you have ADD or you're lazy. They're just going to try to help you out. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to try to just share a little bit about what works for Lydia. Okay. Ignore my socks. But when you're a fashion icon, it doesn't really matter. I'm joking. I'm not a fashion icon, although I do strive to be. I do strive to bring my fashion sense into this podcast and inspire you. All right. I don't know if you heard that because my microphone was so far. So we did say that ADD stands for attention deficit disorder. It is a chronic mental disorder that affects your attention, behavior, and impulsivity. It basically means that you're lacking executive function. So You want to get up and get your um, dishes done, but you really cannot do it. Like, the ADD world recognizes like literally brain paralysis. It feels like a physical paralysis, even though your body is fully functional, obviously. But like there's that gap between what you want to do and where like your desire and your finished result. It feels like there's literally like a huge gap between it. And I don't know if you guys have seen those memes, or not memes, but like images online that show you on one side like how normal people see their sink with dishes, and it's like just a bunch of dishes. And then how ADDers see their sink, and it literally is like from here to here, like from bottom to the and it's not good. And it's to show you that like it's extreme. Everything is on the extreme side for us, that we just picture things so much worse than they are in reality. Okay. A bunch of symptoms, like the typical symptoms that you can find online that you will hear most people or most doctors say, is that you have difficulty concentrating in mostly anything. When you're young, you can notice that it's really hard for you to pay attention in class, or just kind of follow the story that someone's telling you, or you're looking down on your book or something else, and you have to you have to look away because something else is distracting you. Short attention span. This is the worst. This is the worst for me. Books, anything that takes a little bit more processing, a little bit more executive function, is so difficult. Like um intricate things where it's not difficult, but you have to follow steps really hard. IKEA, I mean, I am my father's daughter, so I love building furniture and stuff like that. But you give an ADHDer an IKEA like 1 million pieces or a puzzle, they will they will want to die. Like, no. Um, careless mistakes. Careless mistakes. So bad. Yeah. It's so hard telling your boss that you did this because, or you missed that because, and it just gets really hard. It gets really hard because people don't believe you, and people think that you are dumb, or people think that you are intentionally missing because your mind is somewhere else, or just because it's in your personality, like you're just careless. This one is really difficult because you get a lot of judgment. Forgetful, losing things. Okay, true story. I am someone, even with my ADD, that prides themselves in not losing things. That's always how I've been. I've taken care of my things really well. I hated as a child, hated, not proud of it, but hated giving my stuff to my sisters, lending people things, because I was worried. I had this sense that, oh, something's going to happen. Like they're going to lose them, or they're going to, you know, trash them, or they're going to whatever. And I find so much joy in keeping my things like neat, and I know exactly where things are. Exactly. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't lose things. This past week, guys, I bought these sunglasses. Oh, aviator sunglasses, like thick tortoise shell, like I don't know, just a statement piece. Like, when you find that thing that almost defines you, like you see it and you're like, oh, or like your friends, like when you go shopping and they're like, that is so Lydia, or that is so you. Something happens, and the other day I look for them and they're nowhere. They're literally nowhere. And in my apartment, I have a spot. I have a sunglass drawer. Okay. I looked for them everywhere. 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 I asked everyone on my social. I have no idea where it is. I lose my mind a little bit. Then I go to the store and I buy the same pair again because I cannot live without that pair now. That pair is my identity. And then today, I'm like, so excited for this podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking around, and then I go to Trader Joe's, and I'm trying to grab my tote so that I can go shopping. And I have a favorite tote. I have like a million totes for like general shopping, but when I have to buy like my milk and like my coffee and like three little things, I have like my favorite tote. And that tote was a gift. And it was Shakespeare and Company. And I cannot find that tote. And there are not one, but now two things that I have lost in less than 7 days. And it is so difficult. It is so difficult to accept it. It's not about the loss, it's the fact that I lost them, okay? I mean, the sunglasses, yes, the loss, but it's a lot more because it hits my ego and it hits my like ability to say, well, I'm really good. I'm just really good at keeping things and I just don't lose things. Anyway, fun fact, you will lose things, unfortunately. So I don't know if it's one of those things that's just getting worse for me, but truly, if I do not place my things exactly in the same place that I did yesterday, I will forget. Like, I will forget where they are. And that's how I've managed to keep them. Anyway, we'll get back on that when we talk about strategies. Unable to stick and finish tasks. The way that I will start like a million things with such passion and desire and not finish any of them. Okay, not any. I've gotten better, but I struggle. This is not, it's not extreme for me. I have acquaintances, people that I know, um, just cases that I know they're like they're everywhere, like a bee. I'm not one of them, but I am hyperactive to a degree. Um, Difficulty sleeping, wanting to sleep, but inability to do so. Yeah, because you're constantly overthinking. You're like you're thinking about everything and nothing at the same time. It is so weird. Like it is genuinely so weird. Um Guys, there is no known cure. And you know what? In the beginning, it was hard for me to accept. And at times it does. Like I have these moments where I'm like self-loathing and like I no longer suffer about this because we're just I mean, every one of us is like broken a different way and like but we figure it out with God's help, with friends' help, with systems in place, with therapy. So for some people it's medication because it's to a degree where you do need medication. Talk therapy, like all these things. Medication is not the route that I've decided to go, and I could go on and on about this, but I'm not, at least at the moment, to the degree where I need to take medication. I've been offered medication. I was given medication when I was first diagnosed. I was in school, I was in university, and my my doctor was like, "Yeah, you need them," and I was like, I watched this documentary that explains in detail, like basically what it does to your brain chemistry, and I was like, I'm good. Because in a way it's telling you that it fixes short term but it messes you up, or not it messes you up, but it gives you side effects like long term because they've seen what happens when people um like stop taking medication. You're finally like seeing what normal is. And all right, now we're going to talk, I'm kind of going to go like on a list, through a list here of how it shows up for me. It was so hard. It was so difficult writing this list, okay? I realized mid podcast that I had not eaten anything and got up and made some rice, and here we are back. I'm kind of going to go through the list, and yeah. I get bored very easily. Um, Sometimes, even with just most fun people around me, I will get bored. It doesn't matter if I'm doing something I love or not. Chances are that after like 20 minutes or so, I'm just gonna, my mind's gonna be somewhere else because I'm gonna wanna move. Um, and it kind of goes hand in hand with like fidgeting or just like the need to move so much. Um, I at church we have these not ushers, but they're these guys that we have like on the sides of the room, and their chairs face the crowd because they're security guards. So they just sit there and like nicely just look at everybody and try to see what they're doing. And I'm always wondering, okay, I hope they don't think like I'm being weird. I hope they don't think I'm doing too much because I'm always moving. I'm always straightening my legs. I use my phone as my notebook. So I'm just always doing too much. And I'm always worried what they're going to think. I literally have no idea where my time goes for the majority. Um, I struggle so much. I sometimes look back and it's been 3 hours. Okay. It's been 3 hours. Where did these 3 hours go? And it hurts because it hurts. It hurts. I can't finish one task. I have to jump from one thing to another. Um, this happens all the time at work. I'll start like 20 things, okay? One is more important than the other, and the prioritizing is also so bad. That's another thing. I always do the one that's the not important one at all first, and then I jump to the important one later. And then I get anxious because the important one needs to be done, obviously. So the closer I get to the deadline, the more I don't want to do it. It's literally the same as my laptop. Like I'll have 100, no, I'll have like 25 tabs open on my laptop, and it's so funny because my boss calls me out all the time, and he's like so organized, and I was like 1, 2, 3, all good. I can't be that person. I'm sorry. The feeling of being paralyzed, like brain paralysis. Your body's not paralyzed, obviously, but you feel like you're paralyzed. Like you feel like there's a lion out there. There's a lion like right between you and your task, and it's just not good. It's not cool. Um, Hard time prioritizing. We already went through this. Um, leave everything for last minute. Now I'm not gonna lie, my essays last minute in high school, university, the best, the best, state of the art. Um, art of the state, state of the art, right? Yeah. Um, Either extremely organized or extremely messy. Although always clean. True. There's literally no in between. Either my apartment looks like a bomb has exploded and there's confetti everywhere, or is absolutely pristine. Like, for example, today it's recording day, so everything in my house has to be in order. Like, if you looked at my apartment right now, it's beautiful. It's like a painting. It's organized because I cannot focus otherwise. Like, I have to declutter my house for my brain to declutter so that I can be focused here. um Difficulty finishing my story, jumping into a million side stories. Listen, 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 Linda. If me and my ADD friend, okay, one of my best friends, if me and her go to a cafe, which we do all the time, we won't leave for 4 hours because we still haven't finished that one story that we opened when we got at the cafe. Because if you mention that yellow dress in the story, I'm gonna want to know, if was it from Madewell, was it from Anthropology, was it the really cute one I saw from Zara? Like, tell me where that dress is from. And if you don't, then I can't even focus on your main story. So like, So yeah, it can get pretty bad, guys. Um, can't make my mind about anything. Literally anything. You want to know where I want to go to eat? Why are you asking me? That's why I either go to eat myself or I go to eat with people who know what they want. Hello? No, absolutely not. If if I'm deciding, then you'll have to wait 2 hours, and you don't have. Who has 2 hours? I don't even have to. I mean, I have 2 hours for myself, but you don't have 2 hours for yourself, for myself. That's not how it works. If we're in DC and it's 8 p.m. and you need to know where we're going, I'm not gonna help out. I'm sorry, I just can't. There's just too many options in the world for me. I'm gonna open all my list with 120 restaurants, and I won't even make my mind between two. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I can't read books. Okay, looking back, how did I go through school? I was even a good student. Like, I just truly doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. In high school, my dad would come to my room, or no, he would not come to my room. He would wake up in the middle of the night from like a noise or something, or from our dog barking at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and he would come always like confused to the room, like, why is the light on? I'm like, I'm studying, and he's like, if you haven't retained the information until now, Lydia, he never said I'm dumb, but you're not going to retain it. And I don't think he understood. I truly don't think he understood because my dad was so smart. But my mom sympathized. I mean, she felt so bad for me. But truly, it took me like 5 times more than a normal information retaining human. I don't even know if that's a word, but it took me 5 times longer than a normal person to understand what what we're talking about. Like, no. Audiobooks though. you best believe, you best believe that I love audiobooks, okay? Actually, I set a goal for myself this year because I was like, Lydia, you need to read books, but you cannot read books, so you need to listen to books. And I set a goal for myself, and it's been going great because I love listening to stories. Like, there's one thing that I love as much as talking, and it's listening. I love listening to stories. I'm so curious. That's why I love asking. That's why I love spending time with people because I want to learn about them. I want to get curious. I want to ask questions, and I'm going to ask follow-up questions. So, because that's how I visualize. Like, it's all like it creates like an idea in my head, and then that's the only way that I can retain information. I create a story in my head. I remember it as a story. That's how I learned history. That's how I remember the years. Don't ask me what years, but I remember them. Um, bad memory. Obviously, this makes sense because if you're not storing information and your attention span is small, how are you going to remember? Which is really funny because I can speak languages, clearly none. I can speak 3 languages fluently. So it's really, this one is a question mark in my head. But I guess, hmm, 2 last ones. I'm always late or rushing, or late or rushing. If I have to be at work, I will be there. I'll be there 5 minutes early actually. But if it's your birthday and you tell me to meet you at 5:30 p.m., I will not meet you at 5:30 p.m. I will meet you at 5:35 p.m. or 37 or 45 because life already stresses me out to be at time to be in time at the places where I have to be or else I'll get fired. So why are you stressing me? Are you my friend? Okay, then be okay with me being late. I apologize to everyone, to all my friends publicly for this. Um, but I will not be on time. And trust me, I work really hard and I've worked and I'm trying to be better. But I can't promise anything. Just can't. Um I've literally left the most horrible two for last. texting back. I have come so close to losing so many people in my life because of this. Truly. Because if you texted me, I'll think that I texted you back. Because I probably opened it because the numbers on emails, unread, and on my message, I will probably open it just so I don't see that is unread, but I will not read it. I mean, I will read it, or I might not read it, but I won't text you back immediately. Not because I don't want to, but because I'm probably like saying pss, 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 to a cat at the same time or something. So I'm so sorry. If I haven't texted you back, it's probably because I thought I did. So please be patient with me. Okay, guys, those were the bad things, and I think we're done. Yeah. Now we're going to talk about the good things. So if you're an ADD, so if you have ADD, I suggest that you buckle up for the good stuff. Guys, we're very creative, all right? Nobody can think as deeply, as colorfully, and have as many thoughts going on and fully, like a blooming at the same time as we are. We are overthinkers. We are analyzers. The analysis, the spreadsheets, the Excel sheets that happen in our head at the same time. You have no idea. You have no clue. I'm loving this British accent that's just coming out. We love trying a new million things. Really do. We're forced to. We force ourselves. Life forces us to try new things. And that's why I think we're so good at adjusting and like being comfortable with the uncomfortable, because we're kind of forced to. It's like a vicious cycle. Like boom, 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 boom. The rule of causality. Or no, that's not it. Sorry. I read this in a book and it makes so much sense. So if you find your niche, if you're lucky enough to find your niche after trying a million things, once we find our niche, we are locked in. There's no moving, there's no shaking, there's no changing, there is no failing. We are the best of the best of the best at it. This is the best one for my friends who love it. But we are always that friend that is down for anything, because we don't like plans. Plans destroy everything. Plans take the joy out of everything. We live in the moment. So it could be 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and if you ask me whether you would like to go to the mall, do you want to go and eat chips and just talk about life? I'm going to say yes. Let's go. All right. This is so sweet. But I wrote, because I have a bad memory, that's why I love taking pictures. I counted, just to be sure, and my phone has 25,786 pictures currently. Pictures and videos, so just media, on my phone currently. And I love it. And I would not have it any different. And there's probably 70% of that needs to be deleted, because I take a picture of everything. Everything. And it's mostly other people than me, but me also. I don't know how to describe it, but everything starts kind of falling into its own place, which I love. And that's why photography is such a passion for me. It's because of the love that my dad had for it too, but it comes from within, and I think it comes from not being able to remember. Yeah, those are the amazing things, the good things about ADD. And now we're going to talk about some strategies that work for me, that work for some people, that I've learned from people, that I've learned from therapy, and all these things. Before I mention them, I want to say that by God's grace and therapy and grace for yourself and the love of other people, you will you will make it, whether you have ADD or any the majority of like the mental health spectrum disorders, issues that we're not always talking about. But I want to say that recently my mind and my thoughts on this have changed completely. I no longer claim ADD as my identity like I used to. I feel like, from a biblical perspective, ADD is just a form of lacking. Like, we as humans are broken and will always be lacking something. And each of us lacks in something more or less, in something different. And this is my weakness. And it's so interesting because a lot of people find their identity in the zodiac or in like the anagram or whatever, because we kind of cling to it. We find it, we make it our own because it gives us kind of like this fulfillment. We have something, we claim it. It's so interesting because I was reading Corinthians today, Second Corinthians, the last two chapters, and Paul is talking about how he boasts in his weakness, how he finds joy in the fact that he lacks and that he's weak, because that's how that's how God is glorified. That's why he needs Jesus. And I find now so much, I've changed my narrative and I boast in my weakness. I find joy in my weakness because maybe if I was fully healthy, I would feel that maybe I would have no need for God, that I would have no need for the cross. And there, my life has changed since I refuse to make this my limitation and my name. And God has been so gracious, and he's been teaching me little by little on how he can be glorified through this in my life, and how I actually lack nothing because of God, whether I have ADD or not. And I want to encourage you, if you feel like there's something that you're deeply lacking. Maybe you need to look at it from a different perspective. Maybe you need to find out who it is that can fill that hole that's been bugging you your whole life. And it's just, but I think it's so comforting to know that this doesn't have to define you. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to define your life. And that we can actually find comfort, and we can find strength and power in Jesus, in our everyday life. That does not mean you do not go to therapy when you need therapy. Please remember that. So yeah, let's go back to some daily strategies. Routine building. Routine, I used to think that would literally kill my joy. Like, it would take away the desires, like the momentarily desires. And because most of my happy memories are from living in the moment, I just thought that it would destroy, like truly, it would destroy my life. But recently, I've been finding so much joy in the discipline, because you start kind of building this trust in yourself, in the way that you action things. It's similar to going to the gym. Not only will you feel better because of all the benefits of working out, but you'll also start to see results, like physical results. Like, your friends are going to be like, dude, you've been working out, like, you look good. And you will start to crave that result. Little by little, it's going to be more and more. And it's like a chain. It's like a chain reaction. Similar to this, you actually will be so much more joyful, and you'll have less anxiety, and you'll have more stamina to go through your race, because you build your routine and you start to like build this trust in your routine, and you feel more productive and more like you can achieve a lot more. Breaking difficult tasks into very small tasks. Actually, I take that back. Not difficult tasks, but just intricate. So, like, for example, Thursdays are my day of reset. For me, that means running errands, buying groceries, deep cleaning my apartment, checking my budget, all of that. And what it means is that I have all this overwhelming feeling, right? But recently, these last 2 years especially, I've been writing like a very specific list of things that I need to get done, rather than just like four huge things, because it trust me, it will change your life. If you have this issue, it's gonna give you once you complete like those first 10, then you're like, oh, you know, the worst is the worst is past, so I'm gonna do the rest. Um, Rewarding yourself after small wins so you can trick your brain. For me, this doesn't have to be something expensive or just huge. For me, my sugar intake right now is pretty low, so it can help with my acne and my hormone balancing and everything. And but I allow myself, I know that Thursdays are my day to myself, and that's the day when I can have an extra coffee or an extra croissant, or just spend some time, go to a really nice bakery with my friend or something. So like pick maybe a day or a time, and I'll connect, like I'll put the deadline of something that I need to do the day before that, probably on like a Wednesday, so that that feels like a reward for myself. Like, and I can add extra something every week. Like I add something extra, and again, that just gives you more encouragement to go through the things that you need to get through. Um, Building boundaries and knowing your limits. This is very important. I've always been really tough on myself, really difficult, because I always compared my normal to other people's normal. And for some of us, that will never be our perspective. I will never be able to read a book in the normal time that a person reads a book, because that's just not how my brain works. And I think comparison can really destroy your progress that you've made, because instead of celebrating yourself for something that you've achieved, you will want to link it to somebody else's achievement and compare it to theirs. And their route is not the same similar as yours, because they're completely different from you. And you just don't see their struggles, you don't see whatever they're lacking in. So you've just destroyed that little bit of accomplishment sense that you have in your life. And I used to do this all the time. And recently I've just I'm okay with the fact that I'm different from other people. I actually embrace it. I embrace it because I've really grounded myself in these things that are unique to ADD. Putting things always in the same spaces, so important. Um, so you don't lose your things. Just place them always in the same space. I have friends that have a little bit worse of an ADD, and they label the things that they don't get to use all the time. Like, obviously, you don't have to label your coffee maker or where you put your sugar in, but um, if it's something that you see or touch like in 6 months, every 6 months, just maybe put a label on there that reminds you, okay, this is where my specific charger of this is, and this is where my whatever. Just label it. It'll help you. Exercising. I don't know why I didn't write it on there, but it truly changed my life since starting really anything, but lifting works for me, and Pilates. Yoga's really good. I'm just not a cardio girly, but if that's your thing, then please, by all means, just move your body, and truly exercising takes away that brain fog that's really bad for me. In these past 2 weeks, I have not been working out as regularly, and I can totally tell the difference at work. Um, Besides other things, but especially in my mind, like I'm not as focused, concentrated. I don't get as many things done, and it takes me longer time because I'm not exercising. And then please don't undermine your sleep. So important, regeneration. You can take some supplements. I love to take my magnesium and my tart cherry juice. There's a lot of things that you can learn online, nutrition. Um, Ask your nutritionist. Isn't that so funny when they say it on like online? Ask your nutritionist. Like, who do you think I am to have a nutritionist? Like, um, yeah, but don't ignore your nutrition. And there's supplements that you can take. Um, I hope that helped. Maybe you don't have ADD and this was so boring to you. I hope that's not the case. Maybe there's someone in your life that you can understand better or just help better. And if you think you have ADD but you just don't want to get diagnosed, that's totally fine. You don't have to. Um, it helped me because I always had been wondering what was wrong. And when I found it, I was like, okay, well, now I know. So now I know what to do. Um, this conversation, because I was never able to talk about this, the ability to talk about it gives me joy and it gives me satisfaction. And these are the things that we need to be talking about, I feel like. Um, I don't think I've ever gone into depth into telling this to someone else. Maybe my mom. I tried to explain to my mom of like how my brain works a little bit. And she was so patient with me. I hope you were too. But I hope this helped. If you have any questions or I don't know, just thoughts, opinions that you have, I'd love to hear them. Other than that, I feel like we can do difficult things even when we think we can't. We just have to try. We have to just seek it. Um, I hope you have a blessed week, and I'm gonna try to do this bi-weekly. Okay.